Last week, Kellyanne Conway used the fake event, the Bowling Green Massacre, as justification for Trump's Muslim ban. Now, Conway has mentioned this fake event during multiple media appearances, including most recently her appearance on Chris Matthews' Hardball. Now, while many took to Twitter to troll Conway's misstep, over half of Trump supporters still think that the massacre is real and that it shows why we need Donald Trump's executive order on immigration. Now, I want to show you a chart here that this is from respondents from the According to Public Policy polling. Now, they were asked, do you agree or disagree that the Bowling Green Massacre shows why we need Donald Trump's executive order on immigration? Now, the breakdown is which candidates each respondent voted for. Now, you can see the first column is the scariest, right? That 23% of people that were polled agree that this is justification, regardless of who they voted for, right? Now, 57% disagree, 20% not sure. But then you jump into each candidate there. 51% of Donald Trump voters, Donald Trump supporters, agree that Bowling Green Massacre, an event that did not occur, a made-up event, is justification for the Muslim ban. I mean, it's also scary that 2% of Hillary Clinton voters agree, 6% of Gary Johnson voters, 3% Jill Stein, and then just anybody else. There's still a large percentage of people who think that this is justification for a Muslim ban.
I love the 20% of people who are like not sure, because those ones, it's like you can picture them eating a sandwich and just going like, what? You come back to me.
I don't know whether this will be controversial. There's a great piece by Natalie Jackson, who's the senior polling editor from the Huffington Post that I read and I retweeted because I agreed with it. This is nonsense, and I don't think we should be, this is not the way to judge Trump voters. If you get asked in a poll the question, do you think the Bowling Green Massacre show why we need Donald Trump's executive order on immigration? Most people don't live in our world, and they think that question indicates that there was a Bowling Green Massacre.
Yeah.
They convey. So we have now a polling agency asking a question about a fake news event, and so the response is going to be, well, it was a massacre, right? So I assume it's a terrorist attack, and therefore, yes. So it's like aha, it makes for, as they point out, it makes for a great headline, and it's a nice aha, gotcha moment, but it's an inauthentic way to get this message across, and I don't like it, and I don't want pollsters asking questions, like tricking the voters into a response. Of course, people don't know what the Bowling Green Massacre is. Nobody followed that story. It was for crying out loud, there were 8 more important stories that happened within the next 20 minutes after Kellyanne Conway said it. And I'm not minimizing its importance. I just mean like it's an avalanche of nonsense coming out of that administration.
Yes and no, right? So I do agree with you that having this massacre, the title of the massacre be in the polling is a perpetuation of fake news and isn't fair, right? But on the other hand, these are the same people who probably did that poll last year who would carpet bomb the fictional city of Agrabah. Like, if you aren't sure, don't say you want to bomb a city or that a massacre is a reason for blocking people from 7 countries who are fleeing hardship and torture from coming into our country. Like, that's not fair either.
So I would go back and say a clearer way to do that poll is, did the Bowling Green Massacre occur?
Right.
That's the only way to really come to the conclusion. The other one is like, so there's a way that you could agree with this statement if you read it and you still know what they're referring to in the Bowling Green Massacre. There's one way that's like, oh, I understand, in my opinion, Kellyanne Conway misspoke, and what she was talking about was the foiled plot to do nefarious acts, and the fact that there's people in this country who are trying to do that is something I don't agree with, and things like that make me, like, that's the benefit of the doubt, and there are people out there who could do that. There's other folks who just hear polls, and I believe this to be true, and I've seen it in various studies over since I was in college, that people answer polls based on what they think you're trying to do to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
and so this is,
people, yeah.
you answer with, and there's some people who do that.
So we are putting the accountability of this wrong information on people who don't have the information instead of blaming Kellyanne Conway for putting out wrong information. But there's this agenda that's continuously trying to make all of Trump supporters seem like they're dumb. And everybody who voted for Donald Trump is not a dummy. and or a person that is not an educated person or it's not cultured. They're not all like these hillbilly KKK members that are out there trying to kill everybody. Yeah. And that this is the kind of stuff that is continuously trying to push that. And as a person who is on the other end of the discrimination that continuously comes from those people who are in fact bigots and stuff, this makes it harder to bridge the gap between people. And I think that for me, like I'm so tired of reading about Donald Trump and how stupid his supporters are and how evil they are. I was just telling him, it's depressing to read that there's this snark that is always upon us about how dumb they are, and how I think at some point we're going to have to try to figure out something, because we got to live with these people. The other thing that I want to say about this is that there are a lot of polls that are generating bad information that are not just to support these alternative facts that are coming from the Trump administration, and that a lot of people believe. And I think it's sad, because that's what the internet does. The internet just pushes out stuff for consumption, and unfortunately there are a lot of people who don't know a lot of this stuff. They don't.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily, like, at least from my standpoint, I look at these numbers, right? And I wanted to bring attention to that first column first, because 23%, regardless of who they voted for, right? It's not necessarily about saying Trump voters or Trump supporters are dummies, but I think it's more of a commentary on the information and how it's spread. Yeah. You know what I mean? And how that there is. So if she says Bowling Green Massacre and then it's trending on Twitter, how that can just kind of seep into a cursory, glance at Twitter, that can seep into people's minds and have them believe something that is so rooted in like falsities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but to go back to it, if we can go back to that graphic of the results, look at the rest of the categories. Like the 51%, you say that 23% of people generally agree, but the other categories are 2, 6, 3, and 2. It's the 51% that's bringing the average up to 23%.
And that's the headline. Half of Trump voters think the Bowling Green Massacre is real.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. Is you have to be very specific in the way that you interpret polls. You look at it, but it's true. I totally agree with you that there are a bunch of people who are like the same ones who say the Agrabah poll, and the same ones who say that it's cool for Trump to have his own private email server, even though Hillary Clinton had hers, and that's why they're upset with her for that.
Right.
Like, there are people out there. It's just that, like, when I want to go after the problems with someone's argument on the other side, I want to make sure that I don't do anything that kind of undercuts my credibility and reveals me to seem like I'm frustrated for sure. I'm totally frustrated from the other side. And there's a part of me that really wants to go and say, like, you guys think the Bowling Green Massacre happened, you idiots, do some research.
Yeah.
But then there's a part of me that's like, if I do that, they just are going to call me some, like, raging libtard or something. And it doesn't really bother me what they think of me, but it bothers me how I'm presenting myself according to my own code of how I want to behave.
I agree. I feel the same way. And the one thing that I have noticed is that, because I follow the people who regret voting for Trump, and you see a lot of people that are saying that them themselves are like, please turn Kellyanne Conway's microphone off. Like, why is she still saying anything? From the alternative facts to this, or to promoting Ivanka's products. Like, people are tired of her. The people that wanted results, that voted for Trump for what they thought he was really going to do for them, aren't interested in this kind of stuff.
You know who's going to stop Trump, stop the establishment, stop the corruption? You are. You help us hire new investigative reporters, and we will unleash it on them. tytnetwork.com/go. Let's build the best journalism team in America.